This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend that is Cameron Wolfe. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
I'm all right, how you feeling?
Good. Where you at? You headed? Where you headed to?
Oh man, I'm continuing my training camp travels. Leaving out to the airport now. I'm actually popping in to Birmingham, Alabama for a NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists conference for a couple days, and then I'm back on the road to Atlanta, and then I'll pop back here, Atlanta to see Falcons, and then I'll be pop back here Friday night so I can see the Dolphins scrimmage on Saturday.
Okay. All right. It's gonna be fun. I'll be in Canton while you're there on Saturday, but that's all right. We'll have some fun. We'll have some fun with Zach and go through that experience. I went through it with Marino, and that was a lot of fun. I think it's something that if you're a fan of whatever team you're a fan of, if you got one of your favorite players that goes to get inducted, I think it's an experience that all fans should try to have if they can. Go see your favorite NBA or NFL player or Major League Baseball player. I know you're a baseball guy. Have you been to Cooperstown yet?
I have not. I should go. I did go to the Phillies Marlins game last night, which the Phillies finally found a way to win while I was there. But I have not been to Cooperstown.
Oh, you got to go, bro. It's the best of the Hall of Fames.
Gotcha.
It's the best.
Really?
It is. Oh, really? My God, yes. The football one, you could tell they had to add pieces along the way and all that stuff. This one is so well constructed. The building is beautiful, and then it's part of an entire town.
Okay.
And Abner Doubleday, like his field is right there, like next to it, right. Like the players play in Doubleday Field. Like
yep.
Holy crap! And then all these bars, dude, up and down the street that are just baseball bars. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the coolest experience. And then the town is like, it's like when you drive in, you're like, holy shit, am I in 1950?
Okay.
Like everything is Americana 1950. Cut grass, white picket fences. Like seriously, like you go back and you're like, holy, am I going back in time? Like, it's like something you've never seen. Seriously. Is
it far from the city?
Oh yeah, from New York City?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You're a couple of hours away. Yes. Cooperstown?
But you still fly into New York City.
Yeah, you probably fly to New York. Can somebody help me where I went for Cortland. I went to cover the Jets for Hard Knocks.
Okay.
Back in the day when I went. That's what I did. I was in Cortland, and I forgot what I flew into. Did I fly? No, I don't think I flew into New York. I flew in somewhere else.
So, like, is it closer to New York? Or is it
4 hours from New York? Yeah. Somebody
Buffalo?
tell me where.
Is it closer to like Buffalo?
Yeah, it might have. Maybe Buffalo. I'm not sure. I forgot where I flew in. Somebody help me out. If you're going
to Rochester or Albany, somewhere like that.
Yeah. I flew into somewhere there, and then you had to drive over to Cortland, and then I had to drive to which I think it was like an hour and a half to go to the Hall of Fame from Cortland. But I'm telling you, if you get the opportunity, make the time. A dude like you that loves baseball, you're gonna go, wow, how come I haven't been here, before?
Yeah, no, I'll definitely make it on my list to go. I just was curious if you could make it a trip with New York City, or it has to be a trip on its own, or can you make it in a trip with Buffalo?
Albany.
I'm going up there.
Albany.
Okay.
Albany.
That makes sense. I was like, I figured it has to be somewhere near a city. I don't know how far Albany is from
70,
Buffalo.
70 miles to Cooperstown. So right there.
70 miles from Albany, 70 miles from Cooperstown.
Yep, exactly.
Gotcha.
That's what Sean just looked up right now. So it looks like I flew in because this was a long time ago, bro. This was, dude. It was when they were last on Hard Knocks, the Jets. It was the fat guy. What's his name? Ryan. He was the guy.
Rex Ryan. Ryan. Yep.
Okay. Oh, gotcha. Albany to Buffalo is 4 hours, bro.
See, you can't make it in a Buffalo trip either. Then it's got to be a trip on its own. I was trying to figure out if it was like an hour from Buffalo. I'm like, okay, maybe I'd come in Saturday, early and make that trip before a Bills game. But 4 hours is
Well,
way too long for that.
or you fly to Albany and then go to Buffalo.
Right.
You could do that.
Got you.
You could fly into Albany the day before, go enjoy Cooperstown, and then go to Buffalo the next morning.
Right. Fly out of Buffalo.
I'm sure there's flights in connecting those cities. I'm sure of it. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you, it's an experience you got to have. All right, so I know you weren't there today, and let me run something by you. So far, Austin Jackson, I have not necessarily been convinced. The Kendall Lamb guy has been doing a really good job. And I know Isaiah Wynn is kind of the swing guy, and he also can play guard. Now, Kendall's been practicing more at left. I'm starting to think maybe you need to start practicing him on the right side, because maybe that's your starting right tackle, him or Isaiah Wynn. I know it's early, bro, but I saw Austin Jackson today look like an absolute cigar store mannequin with Phillips and Agba. I mean, it was not good. So I'm just wondering your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so obviously I wasn't there today, so I didn't see that one up close. But I'll tell you what, the defensive line has been dominant over the offensive line pretty much all of training camp so far. And so I wouldn't feel easy about any part of this offensive line right now outside of, Robert Hunt and maybe Connor Williams. I mean, Teron Armstead is your best player, but you got to worry about his health. And I think that's why you see Kendall Lamb getting a lot of snaps at left tackle. Obviously, Teron hadn't been out there. And although you love for Toronto to play 17 games, he's never done that in his career. And so I think you need to plan for who's going to be your left tackle if Toronto gets hurt at some point in the season. So I think that's why you're seeing Lamb get that spot, because he has played right tackle in the past. And so in theory, he knows how to play right tackle. The question is, do you feel comfortable enough for him being your third offensive tackle, your guy who's up on game day? Austin Jackson also has played left tackle and right tackle,
and guard,
and guard. So yeah, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility if Austin Jackson struggles enough that you plug Lamb in there and then maybe Austin Jackson's the swing. But the point is, they've got to have all the guys that they're competing for this role have to play multiple spots for them to be active in game day. So that's why you're going to see Isaiah Wynn play both tackle and guard, because if he's active on game day, even if he's not a starter, you need to be able to go in if the left guard gets hurt, or if the right guard gets hurt, or if the right tackle gets hurt. Maybe Lamb goes in.
That's why I'd rather have Lamb go right tackle and keep Wynn as my swing, because he can play three different positions. You know what I'm saying? And so, and he only had one bad rep out of the several reps that he had on one-on-ones today. He actually did a pretty good job. I thought Kendall also did a pretty good job overall. I think on one he might have struggled a little bit, but he's done overall a pretty good job. By the way, Connor Williams and you know what? Eichenberg had a good day today. There was one time that he struggled, but Eichenberg is a guy that, out of Austin and Eichenberg right now, Eichenberg is the one that's showing a little bit more improvement actually than Jackson right now. I don't know what you've seen so far from the days you've been out there.
Yeah, so I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't really start watching the offensive linemen until the pads come on, which was yesterday for the first day. And so I would have had one day of watching the offensive linemen. But the problem is I was on set on live TV from 10 to 2. And so I saw very glimpses of practice, but not enough for me to tell you how much Liam has looked better or Austin's looked better. I can only tell you kind of my experience throughout camp. And, I would love to see Isaiah Wynn get some competition at guard to Liam Eichenberg. And if Eichenberg wins that job, great. I would love to see Lamb and Wynn give competition to Austin Jackson. And if he wins that job, great. You want your young players to win it, but I don't want the job to be given to them. I guess that's my point. I think there's been a perspective of we really badly want our recent draft picks to be the guy. And that's fine to want that. But the reality is, if the guy's not good enough, the guy's not good enough. And so I'm very eager to see joint practices upcoming against the Falcons, because to me, that's where you're going to truly see a lot of how good these guys are in the trenches. And then with the Texans a couple weeks later, I think that'll give you a good glimpse of, is Austin Jackson good enough to start? Is Liam Eichenberg good enough to start? Or do you have to look at other options? And maybe it's Kendall Lamb. Maybe it's Isaiah Wynn. Maybe it's somebody that's not on the roster. Maybe they have to go make a move. We're all obsessed about the running back and Dalvin Cook. To me, just
No,
me,
no,
if I
not
was
all of
looking for something on the market, I would be looking, is there an offensive lineman I can make a move for?
All right. Some of us are not obsessed about Dalvin Cook, by the way. Some of us are just kind of like pretty passive about it. If he joins, great, or whatever. And by the way, speaking of Dalvin, he can paint whatever picture he wants publicly. He's got to be incredibly frustrated because he did not get wooed like he thought he would. Josina Anderson just put out that they want two things from him: that he's going to defer to Breece Hall, and what was the other one? Oh, and that he has to
That
show
he
him that
wants
he
to be
wants to
here.
be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's proven over and over again he wants to be here, but Chris Greer is not giving him that kind of deal. He's giving a team. It's either a team friendly deal or nothing, and I think that shell shock has kind of set in for the player and the agent. I don't think they expected it to be as cold as it's been in free agency.
Yeah, I told you guys a while ago, I didn't think that Dalvin Cook was going to sign at the start of training camp. I thought he was willing to wait. And a big reason why is he hasn't got what he wanted. Let's just call it what it is. The money's not out there yet to where he wants it to be. And it looks like it might never be. And so
Well,
you're
bro,
going to have a
that's the
situation.
point. But Cam, that's the point there. He can't be thinking that my money is not there yet. You got to already think, dude, you need to crap or get off the pot already. You're not getting the
So
money, dude. Just
So
sign.
the
Be
thought
happy.
is, so yes, that sounds great in theory, but as tough as your player like Dalvin Cook, who had been a $12 million player for the last 2 or 3 years, and his thought process is, I haven't declined, so why should I have to take a drastic pay cut? Which to me makes sense, but the reality is that's still the league. The league has told you running backs don't matter. The league has told you as you get older, your salary decreases, but that's hard to come into grips with. That's like you or IO. We both have different industries a little bit. But if tomorrow, all of a sudden, you're making half of what you were making before, you're gonna hold off. You're gonna try to figure out a way to get that number as high as you can. It's gonna
Sure.
take you a while to come to the realization that this is what it is. Same for me. If NFL Network cut me tomorrow and I was looking for another job, I would try my best and I would hold out to try to get as close as I could. And so I eventually had to come to the realization that this is what the market is. But I think we assume that it happens like this, but you got to think about the human aspect. I think it's just taking a while for him to come to grips with that. And there's also the hope perspective, and we've seen this before, but it's tough to count on it. If a guy gets hurt, if a Derrick Henry, if a Nick Chubb, if a star running back gets hurt for a team, I think Dalvin's like, maybe that'll save the day for me. Maybe a team is like, we have to get our running back to get to where we need to go, and so let's go get Cook. And so you're waiting for something. You're not rooting for an injury, hopefully they're not, but you're waiting to see, hey, training camp happens. Maybe a guy tears an ACL. Maybe a guy does this, and maybe that's what gets me to my number. And so I think that's why there's a little bit of a waiting game. I do know the Jets do have interest, but clearly the fact that he hasn't signed yet either says he's desperately waiting for Miami to up his offer, or the Jets still haven't offered him what he wants, or both. And so I don't know when the final date is, for the Dalvin's team, if it's week one, if it's 2 weeks before the season, whatever it is. But eventually he's going to have a date where it's like, if I'm not getting anything better by this, I'm just going to have to take whatever's the best offer for me.
Yeah, but if you want to be the guy, you don't do that by showing up a week or two before the season starts. That's you're guaranteed of being on the back end of the rotation if that's what you're going to do. Now, if you do want to be the guy, well, don't you show up already and get in there and then prove to everybody that you're still the guy and you can put up the numbers. You know what
Well,
I'm
that's
saying?
if that's if just playing and getting the role was the only factor. Money is a big factor. Money is a big factor. And so, I think he's going to hold out until he feels like he has to sign so he can try to maximize that dollars. I think based on what I know, if the Dolphins or the Jets up their offer, let's say two million from where they are now, 2-3 million, I
Right.
think that he would sign. I think that's what he's hoping for. I don't think it's hey, I need to get extra $5 or $6 million. I just think it's a 2 or 3 extra million. He knows the reality of the situation. He's not going to make more money as he gets older. Whatever he makes this offseason is probably the most he's going to make for the rest of his career. And then what he makes next offseason is probably going to be the most he makes. It's going to decline. And so as he starts to see like the rest of his career and his earnings potentially waning down, I think he's saying, hey, I got to get everything I can out of this situation. And he knows that I prefer to be in Miami, but I want them to come to my number. Right now, the Dolphins and Chris Greer are saying, this is our number, and if you don't want it, we'll roll with Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson and Devon A-Chain and keep it moving.
Well, Cam, your boy is doing well on in camp. Your namesake is doing well in camp. I mean, it's funny because I always laugh.
He's got a great name.
No doubt, but I always laugh at Dolphin fans that like point at Noah. Oh, well, he missed on Noah, and it's like, hey, moron. He drafted Minka and Holland and Brandon Jones and X and and he found Needham and they found Trill and you look around like they hit on a lot of their secondary guys. Yeah, I know they missed on Noah. Okay, great, fantastic. That was a project. That was a kid that was converting from receiver to corner. Well, Cam Smith looks like he's all the other guys with Kohu and everything else. He looks like he is just making the transition, dude. And in a year where you lost Jalen Ramsey for a few months, I don't know it could get any better if you actually could keep on Cam on the outside and Kohu inside. That'll be really strong for them if they're able to do that.
Yeah, I like Cam Smith a lot, and I can relate what I'm about to say to both Cam and Noah. The hardest thing to teach cornerbacks is the innate stuff, the instincts, the ball skills, the ability to make plays. And I think that's what you're seeing with Cam Smith, who has that natural ability, versus Noah, who he had to learn it and be taught it.
Right.
And,
one's
learn how to react
a natural
to the ball.
corner. One's a natural corner. The other one's
and so I'll tell you this: Cam Smith is not the most polished player. He's still very raw in some areas. He's a little grabby. He's going to get some penalties early in the season. That's his game. But I'd much rather have to teach him to be a little less physical than to have to teach him how to react when the ball's in the air. And so that's why I think
the difference with Kohu. Same thing with Kohu, right?
Exactly.
You have to coach him to be less aggressive because that's about the most aggressive corner I've ever seen.
I would love to tell a guy to get a little bit less dog than to try to find out how to put the dog back in him. It's hard to put a dog in somebody that don't got it.
Oh, yeah.
But if you got the dog and you just say, hey, let's not bite everybody. Let's just bite sometimes. You can work with that. It's hard to tell the guy to bite when they don't know how to bite. And so I think they got some guys that can bite, and Cater and Cam, obviously X. And so they're not Jalen Ramsey. Don't confuse this. Jalen Ramsey hurts, and you're gonna be a worse off defense without Jalen. But I think that they're okay with the guys they have, along with Eli Apple. I don't think they're going to be exposed by any stretch. And I definitely think it'll be better than last year because they've already had the reps. At least Cater has. You have some other guys who've had the reps that it's not like, oh, we lose our top corner and everything goes to panic. And they also have a defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, who can scheme it up.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. That's why I'm looking forward to it. But, man, it's really nice to see the transition that this young man is making right away. That has got to make, Chris Greer feel good. That's got to make the coach Fangio feel good because once you lose Jalen Ramsey, that's a huge loss. The beauty is that's the spot you can lose somebody if you're the Dolphins because that might be your deepest position, overall is corner. So you can survive for now till you get Ramsey back. And when you do, oh my God, Cam Smith will have all that playing time. Your secondary is going to be really nasty and deep.
Absolutely. I just got to the airport, so I'm gonna have to run.
Go ahead.
But I'll leave you with this. Like I talked to Mike McDaniel on an interview on Sunday that ran on NFL Plus and our coverage there, and I asked him about the Jalen Ramsey injury, and the one thing he said is we didn't trade for Jalen Ramsey because we needed a cornerback. We traded for Jalen Ramsey because we wanted an elite playmaker on defense. And so we don't believe that all of a sudden we lose Jalen Ramsey and last year is panic at cornerback. We think the corners are fine. Now we'll have to find other players to step up as far as a playmaker. but that responsibility is not solely on the corners. And so I think you'll see the defensive line in the front seven, which has played very well so far in camp, step up. And then you'll see some of the safeties like Javon Holland and Brandon Jones step up and take some of that burden of losing Jalen Ramsey as well.
Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolfe and catch his work there at the NFL Network. Cam, safe travels, my brother. Thank you for taking some time.
Absolutely. Have a great one.
Do your thing. There you go. Don't forget, man, KSDT CPA. Show them the QR code, and you can use that code right there if you want to reach out to them. If you haven't done your taxes, if you haven't done your business taxes, your personal taxes, there you go. Use the QR code. Reach out to our people at KSDT CPA's offices in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County. You're going to be opening up an office very soon. Already taken over there in North Carolina. I believe it's in the Charlotte area, was it, or maybe Raleigh? I'm not exactly sure. Now I'm brain farting, but they are getting into North Carolina and moving into other places. Top 200 firm by Forbes. Reach out to them if you want a company you can count on to do your personal or your business taxes. KSDT CPAs will get it done.
This